Hey guys, we're in Hawaii for another Occ-Cast, and I am so honoured to have Big Wave legend. Well, he's a legend and he's only 28 years old. He's won the Big Wave World Tour. He's won Jaws 3 times. It's Billy Kemper. Let's check out what he's up to.
Oh God, there's too many jellyfish.
It's such a wonderful ride. It's such a wonderful ride. It's no blues paradise. It's such a wonderful ride.
Hey guys, welcome to another Occ-Cast. We're in Hawaii on the North Shore, and it's an honour actually for me to have 2017 Big Wave World Champion Billy Kemper. Billy, thanks for being on the Occ-Cast, matey.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to be in your presence, man. You've been an idol of mine my entire life, and stoked to share some stories with you.
Oh, thank you. Wow, where do we start the stories? I mean, it's been a cracker winter so far. You've already won the Big Wave, second stop of the Big Wave Tour at Jaws for the third time?
Third time.
Third time. Incredible. You won the World Tour last year, but like the waves have been pumping this winter, right? Did you get much practice before that swell, or?
No.
No.
To tell you the truth, I literally felt the best I ever felt. I put in like 4 months of strict training, mentally, physically, working with a nutritionist, like really, really hard work. And right before the HIC event, I seen a big choke swell, and I was like, shoot, I've been training so hard, I might as well go put myself to test. And me and Nathan Florence and Cole Rothman decided to go over to go try paddle a big swell.
Wow.
And first wave, first day of the trip, I fell, tore my labrum, my adductor, and my hip in half. And
Wow, how long before that's
this
the
was
contest?
October 17th.
Okay, so not that long.
Yeah, so October 17th, and that day, I was literally in Tahiti for 18 hours. I got on a plane to California that day. Went to go see Warren Kramer, who's like an orthopedic surgeon, works
Yep.
with the WSL, and
Yep.
he looked at me and he's like, well, we can get you in 2 days, open you up and get you back in the water in around 3 to 5 months, probably not 8 months till you're 100%. And I just like, every emotion in my body just sunk. Like I'd never been in that situation in my life. I've dealt with a lot of injuries, but
Yeah.
nothing like that. And especially coming off a world title, like for me, I'd never every childhood dream in my life was to win a world title.
Yeah.
And I put so much, not pressure, but just so much expectations and really backing it up and just more so performing at a really high level this year. And it was hard. I cried, was depressed, pissed off, you name it. And luckily I kind of avoided the big surgery, and I seen a handful of other doctors, physical therapists, and within a month, day one of my return of surfing was actually in a jersey in Nazaré.
In Nazaré, oh my goodness.
So yeah, I didn't really get too much. Like I was surfing a bunch leading up to that. We got a really good early pipe swell.
Yeah.
But nothing as far as the big board stuff until Nazaré. And I got home from Nazaré, and literally I think the day I got home, I seen something long range, and I was like, oh my God. And I just started texting Snips. I was like, Snips, let's go, baby. Like this is it. I could see that swell from so far away. And the direction, the size, everything about it really was nuts. And it drew a lot of attention for me, and I was super pumped for that. And I mean, there's been a lot of swell this year, and I think we're off to a really good start, and I feel like the second half of winter is going to be even better.
Even better?
Yeah.
Wow. If that could get any better, I mean, I know that you've had all the swells at Pipe, but that day at Jaws, that was huge, Billy, and you were the only one that got interviewed because you won your heat, right?
Yeah.
And that was the only heat.
Yeah.
And then they called it off. They had the women first.
Yeah.
Growing swell.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that day when you woke up and I know you wanted to keep running. I mean, you won your heat.
Yeah.
And was it fair because the other guys didn't serve?
Yeah,
Can you weigh that whole situation up for us, please?
For sure. Well, similar situation last year when I was up final event. I was in Nazaré for the world title, and we knew the wind was coming. We knew the swell was huge. we went out there and I said, hey, if we start this event, we're finishing this event. Like, no walking away. Like, we're big wave surfers. We train for this. This is what we're supposed to do. You know, we can play our cards right, safe, you know, get in early and pick the right waves. And they ended up calling the event off in Nazaré after my heat, and I was livid because it was basically me and Kai Lenny. Whoever placed one spot higher was going to win that world title. And he was like in the next heat, and I told him, I was like, I don't care if it's 4 feet tomorrow. We're finishing this event. I won my heat. I'm in the semis. Like, there's none of this calling it off. And it was another situation, you know, where you cut around. And I just, in big wave surfing, I truly don't feel that's fair. And this year with the Jaws event, the night before, when those buoy readings hit, I immediately just knew. I was like, you know, I personally thought that they shouldn't have ran the women's. With that much interval at that wave, it turns into a different beast, and it turns more into a slab, and it's moving much faster, much thicker, and it's really hard to approach. And I was excited. I knew that, you know, the boys they're pumped. You know, when you get Shano and Albie and Kylan, all the boys, you know, Chumbo, all these guys, Ian, it's on. Like, you throw us all in the lineup, and it's 60 feet and barreling. There's not going to be pulling. I mean, people are going to be pulling back, but we're going to push it, and we'll get ourselves into them. And
well, you were in that first heat.
Yeah, so I was in heat 1, and I pulled up on the jet ski that morning with my buddy Matt Miola, and I seen.
You must have been, first of all, you must have been itching to get out there when the women were
Oh
on.
my God, I pulled it up on my phone because I knew that I wasn't going to surf till about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to launch on the jet ski, and I looked at it, and I was just like, oh my God, it's as good as it gets right there. And like, that's kind of all the adrenaline started kicking in, and we made our way out there. And I pulled up just in time for the women's final. It was guts and glory. It was gnarly. They did as well as they could. They really pushed themselves over, and it was inspiring to see. You know, I think just 5 years ago, there wouldn't be a single girl even thinking about surfing that. So now to see all those girls, like, you know, they're really pushing themselves, and hats off to them.
Yep.
You know, at the bottom of my heart, I feel like that was our day for
a men's day.
It was a men's day. I think the men's should have kicked it off at 7 a.m. We would have finished about an hour after my heat, and
it would have been right on the max, but just
that would have been the pinnacle of surfing. You know, my heat, we got out there, and Twiggy is like, you know, he's a pioneer paddling, and he's seen everything, and you know, he's seen everything in big waves, and to see his face and see how tripped out he was, like that was as big as Jaws gets, let alone hollower than it's ever been. And we had a pretty radical group of guys in that heat, you know, Hippo, Russell Bjork, Alex Botello, Mark Healy, Twiggy, and myself. Like, if there is any guys to really capitalize and send it on, you know, the biggest barrel of a lifetime, it was going to be one of us. And that was kind of my goal going into that event. I was really, the year before, getting second after winning 2 years in a row, it hurt. You know, Ian won that event fair and square, but I didn't get to perform the way I wanted to. Okay. It wasn't nothing to do with the judging, but it was just, you know, my rhythm wasn't there, and I was so let down. I was pissed off.
You weren't getting the ones that you
wanted. And this year I was like, you know, guns blazing. I'm coming out hotter than ever, and I wanted to basically draw a line, first wave of the event, biggest wave of the event. Like, that was my goal in my head, was whether they keep running this event or not today, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to prove to these guys and just to myself that I can catch anything. Anything I put my mind to, I can ride it, and just basically not just ride the wave. Like, I want to draw lines that people aren't drawing. I want to pull in the waves that are bigger than any waves paddled, and just take it to a different level and approach it like it's backdoor off the wall. And that first wave came, and it had an entry, and I seen it, and Twig gave me a couple yells like, "Go boy, go!" And there was no holding back. I was yelling, and that wave was, you know, ride of a lifetime.
Well, people are watching that photo right now, and that was a ride of a lifetime. I mean, you kind of rule that spot because the year you won it, it was perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you got a 10, and I mean, it wasn't like that. It looked so much more chunkier and bigger.
Yeah.
And it did get bigger, didn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it did.
after they called it off, did you think? Did you have that in the back of your mind all morning that they might call it off because it was going to max out?
I called Snips
Yeah.
on the phone before I paddled out, and he was on the cliff, and I just told him, if I surf,
Yeah.
all 4 of these heats are surf. All 3 heats after me are surf. And I said, we're not cutting this round now. He's like, it's going to get dangerous and big. And I was like, if we're calling it on, we're calling it on. We can run the first round and call it off.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the test dummy. I've done that in Nazare, and it's like,
not good.
I was pretty pissed off. I was let down.
Yeah.
But then again, that call is out of my hand. It's not up to me. It is an event. There's other perspectives to take into consideration with safety. It's a liability, and at the end of the day, safety comes first. You know, we all got families, we all got kids, and we got to make sure we get home. And they probably did make the best call, but I think a better call would have been starting us at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
But my adrenaline was through the roof, and I wanted to go all the way. I mean, I would have if I was ready.
I know you would have.
100%. I was psyched. I was frothing, and I was just like, I thought I was gonna go free surf, and then my adrenaline kind of dropped off after that wave and that beating I took after that, and I was like, okay, I got a contest to win tomorrow. I'm gonna go in and rest. So it was. Albie went out and snagged a couple.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. It was fully surfable.
Yeah.
You could get them if you position yourself right, and I think if we do end up in situations like that in the future, that
maybe they might be more lenient, and
I think we can run. I think we can change the criteria of just doing one wave, and you double that one wave, and it just really lets guys focus on surfing safe and picking one good wave rather than trying to ride multiple waves.
That's a great idea.
And if you're not comfortable, sit it out.
Sit it out.
Yeah. No shame, man. It's not. It's an ego contest. This is.
Nah.
It's pride and joy for me. This is what I love to do, and this is what I think I was honestly born for. And I think people.
Yeah.
You all have your own opinion. We're all men in life, and you can make your own decision.
Yeah. Because we had a contest way back in the day at the Billabong Pro, and it was mobile, from Pipe, Sunset, and Waimea.
Wow.
Yeah, a Billabong event way when I was pretty young, and so they could have it anywhere. And one day it was mobile, and we woke up and it was 25 feet, and they held it at Waimea.
Wow.
And we didn't have boards. Everyone was scratching for boards. You never knew this?
No.
You didn't? Hey, yeah.
No
it was
idea.
called the Billabong Pro. It was a AAA event, and it was mobile. Yeah. So MR ended up winning it. The last day was at Sunset. But we all woke up and we had to ride Waimea, and a few guys didn't go out. Yeah, a friend of mine, Gary Green, didn't go out, and a guy called Bryce Ellis, and they were on tour, and after that it was pretty much the end of their careers and they didn't go out.
Wow.
Yeah, and I went out, I mean, I was really scared, but it was huge and it was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, like that day, like Marvin Foster was sending it, and MR and Derek Ho got the biggest one that closed out the bay, and he rode it right up the beach.
Wow.
And the crowd loved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was crazy, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's so dangerous that if you're not into it, you're not into it. It's
and I think,
like in hindsight that day, like if someone did get really hurt or killed, then you would have went, well, that's why we called it off.
Exactly.
That,
is one thing with Mother Nature that you can't predict, and you can't argue it. If the directors of the event and the safety team aren't comfortable, it's their call. It's in their hands. I mean, our lives are in their hands. If they're not comfortable with rescuing us, called off.
Called off.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, they probably made a good call. And day 2 was rough, but we're lucky at that final. It kind of pulsed. It turned into kind of like a barrel show, and which was cool. I was happy because in the semi, I was like, basically just, let's call this thing off and split the prize purse. This is a joke. It looked like it was about to be 10 to 12 foot windy sunset. And then Snips, he held ground and was like, Billy, there's going to be a pulse. I'm telling you, Kevin at Surfline is convinced that there is a little jump in the buoys, and you're going to get a flurry of good waves between 11.
And you guys did.
10, 30, 11. And we did. There was 20-foot waves in the final.
It
And
was sick.
we got barrels. Guys were getting 8, 7, 6s. Everyone rode waves. So at the end of the day, you know, Bruce told me when I was a kid of getting ready to surf a heat at Haleiwa.
Bruce Irons?
Yeah, it was like 1 foot Haleiwa left, typical. Day one of the the Haleiwa Pro, and I was just complaining, and he's like, Billy, 2 feet or 20 feet, there's gonna be a winner. Just make sure it's you. I was like, well, I guess that's right, you know, that no matter what conditions are, somebody's got to win. And I think if you position yourself right and, you know, you work hard enough and put your head to it, you can win anything.
Yeah. We'll get to like competing a bit more later in regular competition, but just I want to know, like from like a regular perspective, like myself, I've never, like that day at Waimea, I was really scared, and you know, so like maybe in my day, like 10, 15 feet was my max, but like Shane Dorian says, like he sees you wipe out at Chores and you come up like rah, and kind of like it, and he's like, now for him, he says, I'll take one of them, and he wants to sit out the rest of the day. You know, like how what's that wipe like? What's the wipeout like, and how can you actually enjoy it? Because I've never wiped out on a wave like bigger than 20 feet. Is it different than a 10-foot wave?
Yeah, it is. I think just Jaws in general is different. I mean, I've had horrible falls everywhere. Cloudbreak, Chopo, Mavericks, Nazare, Waimea, like you name it. And there's just a different violence out at Jaws. That thing, you have no control in what's going on. I feel like other waves, you know, you can get yourself to the surface, or you know, you can kind of fight it, but you are in Jaws' hands when you fall out there, and there's really all you can do is relax. And
what do you do? Keep your
I try to, you know, like the bad ones, I'll inflate my suit and just kind of try to hold tight and curl up and just let it do what it does with me, and hopefully I'll pop up. And yeah, I've had a couple really bad falls. That fall I had on my second wave this year in that heat was, that was an eye-opener. I actually blacked out on the second wave after that. Wow. I hit my back really hard. No, I hit my back hard and I got the wind knocked out of me. And it, like any human out there who's got the wind knocked out of you, you know, for about 10 seconds you have that like, where you can't get a breath of air. And I'm watching Hippo jump over like a 50-foot building. And I'm trying to get a breath of air.
Before that wave hits you.
And I'm just like at the surface, and I was inflated, and I got like one little right when it hit me, and the thing was so violent. It felt literally, I felt like I was in, you know, like you see a little stuffed animal in a pit bull's mouth, just like ripping it apart. Like that's what I felt like, and I actually touched the bottom.
Oh, wow.
And my suit was already inflated. I just started pulling every canister I had. I was just like,
you can pull more.
No, I mean, it doesn't do anything, but I was just like, get me, I was in semi-panic mode just because I didn't have any oxygen in me from having the wind knocked out of me. And I finally started coming to the surface, and I felt like I was my head was about 2 foot away. I felt like I was in the foam, in the like turbulence of the whitewater, coming to the surface, and literally my limbs just went completely limp, and it just turned into the most silent, peaceful release of my life, like flashbacks of like my childhood memories. And all of a sudden I woke up to Sean Lopez screaming at me on the back of a jet ski, and I had no idea what happened. He said he came in to rescue me, and my eyes were wide open, and I was just completely unconscious, and he did a circle, came back around, and started to grab onto me by my jersey, and I just woke up screaming. So it was...
that is heavy.
Yeah.
You wanted to go back out.
My adrenaline did, you know. I actually went back to the ski because I broke my board right there. I grabbed the extra board, and my friend Matt Miolo was about to start crying. He's like, you're knocked out? You're not going back out? And I just, you know, I've grown up competing in QSs, and there's defense to professional surfing and competing as well as offense. And I was just like, I gotta win this heat. I'm going back out. I'm not gonna catch a wave. I'm just taking them deep. And he was like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And I got on my board and just head down was just like stroking back to the peak. Yeah, Healy was on his way back out. I beat him on the paddle battle, got on the inside of him. And I seen Hippo and Twiggy out back, and I was like, I'm going to the country. Yeah, I'm taking them deep. And I just pushed it right when we got to the peak, the horn blew. But I just like, I think on my way back to the ski after that, I was like, kind of everything started to hit me that I just really basically drowned for a second. And I'd never been in that situation.
Oh, that was the worst. Because I was going to ask you about your worst wipeout, but that maybe it was it.
I mean, I've never watched my life flash like that. Like I've had 2 wave hold downs. Yep, plenty of them.
Yeah. Wow.
I've hit the bottom really hard, you know, cuts, bruises, whatever, but I've never had that feeling of like a life release. Like it was really peaceful.
Wow.
And it was something, you know, that, I've never experienced anything like that. And that night, it put a lot into perspective to me, just FaceTiming my wife and kids, and they're asking me, like, did you block? I was just like, no, like, trying not to, like, you know, go into depth and tell them, like, how serious it was, but at the same time, it's like, you know, realistically, every time we paddle out there, we put ourselves in God's hands to, you know, you're really just, every wave you stand up on, every session you're out there, you know, your life is on the line 100%.
People don't realise, hey, because with the vests.
They really don't.
Because you don't pull that vest every time. I mean, obviously in that situation.
No, but in contests, I like you know,
you get up quicker.
I'm not somebody who tells, like, you know, I've heard a lot of surfers like, they catch a 50-foot wave and fall. And I didn't pull my vest, but it's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I know.
Because if your board hits you in the head while you're getting tumbled in the whitewater, your lights out. You ain't coming to the surface. If your thing's inflated and you get hit in the head, at least you're coming to the surface and you're giving, you know, the people who are doing safe for you a chance to bring you back. And it's, I feel like it's kind of selfish of people.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And it turns into an ego thing where I pull mine all the time. I like to know that it works. It's consistent. And especially in contests, I think a lot of these people don't realize that contests are not just about performing. It's about, you know, endurance. It's about fatigue. Like, you know, people are going to get tired and slowly fade off. And the more pounded you get, the longer you're underwater, the faster you're going to get beat up and tired. So I use it to the advantage of, you know, just getting myself up and making sure I do come up.
It's smart.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not...
And you're coming home to your wife and kids.
Exactly. I'm not one person to tell you that I don't inflate that thing when I fall. Like, I'll inflate it majority of the time. If it's, you know, especially if it's a bigger wave, I'll immediately, probably once I get under and get down pretty deep, pull it out and just get myself to the surface.
Yeah, smart. And tell us about your wife and kids. You have 4 kids, and where did you meet your wife, and how did it all happen?
I mean, you know the Surratts really well.
I do.
Uncle Brian. So Uncle Brian's youngest son, Crew, is a childhood best friend of mine, and his wedding. He might have got married like 15 years ago or something, maybe 12. I don't know. I think I was like 15 years old. I was at his wedding, and his wife's maid of honor is now my wife, but she was there, this hot local girl, and I'd like seen her on the dance floor, and I was like trying to dance with her, and she I'm a couple years younger than her, and she just laughed at me, and I was like, God damn it, and just like, it was funny, you know, we always joke about it. She denies it, like, no, you didn't. I did. I tried to. And, I was your, you know, typical underage drunk kid on the North Shore trying to get some action, and she just shut me down real fast. So it was pretty funny, and we, you know, connected through I connected through her with the Surratts, and eventually, actually, it was I hurt my shoulder in a Porto event, a QS event. I made the final in 2010. I dislocated my shoulder in the final, and I flew to California to get some physical therapy, and Crew Surratt called me, and he's like, oh, my wife and her friend Tahiti are going to be in LA, like, you show them around. When I was 20 years old, I liked to have a good time, and I had all the connections in the world in Hollywood, and you know, every local kid in Hawaii, you put us in California or in Hollywood, we're like, you know, we're on fire, we love it, you know, and I would always go out with a bunch of buddies, and I took them out, and we kind of reconnected then, and it's kind of just, that was it.
And now you live in a tranquil, beautiful spot in Hawaii with 4 kids. How old are they? And
we
boys, girls?
All boys.
All
4 boys. Yeah, 1-year-old little lion boy, 3-year-old hazy boy, and then Nigel and Zaya, who are 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a full tribe, and it's
Just like me, all boys. I got 3 boys too.
You know, and people are like always looking at me like I'm crazy for having kids at such a young age. But then, like, you know, I talk to somebody like Shano,
Yeah.
who's in, you know, he's having a hard time keeping up with Jackson because the kid's just full throttle, and like I think my energy now is perfect for them. You know, I can take them surfing and I can surf all day with them, and it's motivated me. You know, I didn't have the sponsors and the opportunities that a lot of kids did growing up, and mine kind of came later in life, and I think my kids have motivated me to, you know, get all these wins and ride these waves, and more so just really work really hard and take every session and every swell for granted. Not to, you know, just go on trips because the waves might be good, or, you know, oh, the partying's good there too, let's go there. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm really going to focus on capitalizing on monumental swells, on swells that are going to be talked about, on events that are standout events, and just really enjoying life and, you know, performing at my best. And my family brings that out in me for sure. And, you know, the support I get from my wife Tahiti it's crazy how much she supports me. And, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't realize that our wives and these women who raise our kids are working the hardest job in the world. And, you know, my kids are healthy, they're strong, they're beautiful, and that's all because of her. And you know, without a mom.
Yeah, and your mum,
Yeah, and, you know,
sorry to hear about your mum, and she was huge, right, inspiration-wise.
Yeah, you know, my dad was there in my childhood at the the beginning of my years, and towards my late teen years, we separated and just bonked heads. We didn't agree on things, and since I've had my children, I really haven't even, you know, me and my dad just completely parted ways. And my mom was everything to me. She raised not only me, but she raised my whole neighborhood, every one of my best friends. You know, Thanksgiving, we'd close off our road and she'd put 20 picnic tables in the center of the road, and from Sean Briley to Bruce Iron, like, you name it. Wow. Every heavy hitter, everyone, like here on the North Shore, we would have 60 people at our Thanksgiving. My mom would cook 8 turkeys. And, wow. She was, you know, she wasn't just my mom, she was everyone's mom. And it's taught me so much in life about raising children and just living. You know, I think people get really caught up in themselves and not about the people around them, and more so just treating my friends as if they're my family, because they truly are. You know, I don't have a huge family. I lost my brother Eric when I was 8 years old. My brother Carl lives on Maui. He's basically like a dad to me. You know, he raised me more than my own dad did in my later years of life, and he's been a huge idol of mine. And
your brother Eric was amazing surf, because that was around around my age. He'd surf Waimea, huge. Yeah. Didn't he? Like, really big. He switched foot out there. He used to do a spinner on the takeoff. Did you ever hear of that?
Yeah, he did. And
he'd like take off natural and spin to get goofy while he was taking off on like a 25-foot wave.
Yeah, I think Johnny Boy took him out there. He was 13 years old, and the beach was closed. It was all over the news, and it's pretty cool. I actually have an old VHS of him, and they're talking about him being. This was before Derek Ho won the first world title out of Hawaii. They were like, Hawaii's big hopes, you know, Eric Diaz, possibly Hawaii's next surfing world champion. And he broke every record in as far as like amateur surfing. Brian Surratt took him to the NSSA Nationals. He won.
That's where I met Eric at Brian's.
He won 2 titles when he was 10 years old. He won the Open Mini Groms, the 10 and under, and the Open Boys. It was like the 10 to 13. And he had the most radical group of friends and teammates between him and Bruce and Nainoa Surratt, Kaimana Henry, Andy Irons. You know, the list goes on. Paulie Boy, those kids were on a whole nother level. And it's really cool, the brotherhood that I've gotten from all of those guys. They really just straight, like, there was no questions asked. There was no, like, this, that. It was immediate little brother to them. And I'm so lucky to have those guys. I think, you know, they're a huge part of my success, and I just always had really badass older brothers to look up to, and just be a part of. You know, I was in the scene. You watch like Andy win that heat against Kelly in the finals of Pipe Masters, and I'm standing on the deck between like Bruce and Bork in a little red Hui shirt, fat little chubby 10-year-old kid, like, yeah, Bruce or Andy, like, you know, I was right there in the mix of it, and it's cool. You know, I talk a lot to Kyborg about it, and he's seen me, you know, from the bottom to the top. He's seen me asking, you know, Ronnie, all these guys at companies, oh, Oakley guys, can I get a pair of glasses? Can I put a sticker on my board? Like, I never had those contracts or those opportunities when I was a kid. And, you know, it's cool that people seen that and see where it's all came from. And I think just being in the mix and seeing the evolution of surfing and just the people, everything, the camaraderie, you know, the testosity of the North Shore. Yeah. This place is radical. It's no joke. Yeah. And
it's no joke. I mean, the North Shore's rad, Billy, because, I mean, you won Sunset, the HIC, like it was 2010, I think? Or?
Yeah, I actually won that.
You were quite young.
Yeah, I won that actually a week after Andy, his funeral. They postponed the event on that first well because of Andy's funeral. And I flew to Kauai with Sonny for his funeral, and I flew home and I won it the next day. And it was kind of like chicken skin feeling, just because Andy and Bruce used to stay at my house in Maui when I was like, you know, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. And I just have these vivid memories of them, and just knowing that's who they are now, or like, you know, that's where Andy got to, winning that many world titles, being, you know, the most dominant Hawaiian surfer in history, like up until, you know, his way out, was it was pretty cool that I got to experience that as a child, and to win that event. I don't think people knew that, you know, a lot of the old school guys knew who my brother was, but at this day and age, a lot of people don't remember who my brother was and how radical and how good he was at surfing. And I think just, you know, my brother gave me a lot of inspiration, and being able to see and be around those guys. It meant so much to win that event, and I was young. I had Nainoa Surratt caddying for me, so I had the home turf advantage with Nainoa there, and it was cool to win that event. I've had really good results out at Sunset.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, because the QS, there's 2 10,000s here, and I know you've dabbled in the QS, you know, and you're still quite young. I mean, you know, you got a 10 there the other day. You actually had Sunset and the Jaws event running kind of at the same time.
Yeah, I went 4 days in a row. I went Sunset, 2 days at Jaws, and back to Sunset, and it was just like...
And you had a 10 at Sunset before you went over to Jaws. I mean, would you like to be on this tour? I think it would be a great addition, having someone from the Big Wave Tour on tour, because you do well in, you know, waves like Chopu and Pipe, obviously. Yeah. You know, you could win those, and if you won Haleiwa and Sunset, and that's your deal, you could get on tour. Did you ever dream of that, or?
I mean, obviously as a kid it was a dream, and I actually, out of high school, I did the QS. I traveled with like Barca and Makua to the Maldives. I've done a bunch of primes, and even 2 years ago I made, like, you know, round before quarters, I think, at Haleiwa, and then I made quarters at Sunset. And I was in
just a few more eights.
I was like 50th on the QS.
Yeah, right.
And the guys at Reef were like, hey, you should maybe go do Bolito, because Bolito's ahead, like, you know,
it did that one time.
Yeah, so I went to Africa, I did it. I did the US Open, just, you know, the event's kind of close, and just in case, you know, if anything ever happened, it'd be cool. Yeah. Maybe if Cloudbreak got back on there, but I would love, you know, like, waves like Margaret's. I've been to Margaret's. I love that place. You know, I feel like my surfing would suit that wave well. And
me too.
Bells and all those waves. JB, I'd love to, you know, surf events out there, but, you know, my focus right now is just, you know,
I reckon they should bump like the HIC up to like a 6-star.
Yeah, and then also the Volcom.
Yeah, I think. And then the Volcom, and then, because it's only fair, like they're waves that you're gonna need to surf in the big wave.
I see all these guys on tour. A lot of these guys qualify and they get on, and they just get erased. Yeah. They disappear. And on the QS, you're like, that's a nuts to surf forever. But you put them against Mick out at Bells, and you're just like, see you later, bud.
And then Pipe and Chopu just eats them right
up. And it's like, you know, it's a whole different game. You're up there with the heavyweights. You know, you got to bring everything you got to swing with those guys. But But I'm not, you know, it's not something that I think about or, you know, I'm really pursuing is trying to qualify for that. For me, the Triple Crown is like where my heart's at. I want to win that Triple Crown so bad. I've made the quarters out at the World Cup, and I haven't cracked the final. I've made the 1 stars, the 3 stars, the 4 stars. I've won like 3 or 4 events out at Sunset, and I'm just like, I'm itching to get in there. I thought this year was my year. I felt so good, and I just, small mistake. Round of 64.
Yeah.
It's all good. You know, I'm at a point where I think I'm not really losing. I learn. It's more of a learning experience than there's a loss. And, you know, when you got kids and beautiful wife, it's nothing to be angry about. You can't be punching your boards and pissed off. You know, obviously, deep inside, you know, as a competitor, you are. But I try not to let it get to me. I more so go back to my coach, Kahea, and just go to the drawing board and see what I did wrong and make sure that I don't make those mistakes again. And, you know, I love competing here in Hawaii, and that's my goal, is to just stay consistent, be in the Triple Crown every year, and win that thing. That's what I want to do. I want to win the Triple Crown. That's like, that to me is like, you know, that and the Big Wave World Tour title, those, you know, that's it. That's what I want.
That fills you up.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And really focusing on swells that, you know, take more attention than some of these big events. Look, we got a parrot.
Wow.
But yeah, just, you know, when those huge cloud break swells roll in.
In summertime, you're on your way.
Or like a huge chopes, south, like all kinds of little hit and miss spots. I'm really into that. And that's where I want to see the Big Wave World Tour. I want to see them transition not into just
the huge,
this big Nazare, like who can ride this tall wave and go straight on a big mush burger. I want to see like
take it to slabs.
Yeah, why not a maxed out paddle swell at Chopes, 12 to 15 foot. Like, I want to see these guys grab their rail and stick it under a 12 footer.
Like Andy did it.
Exactly, or like, you know, a 12 to 15 foot paddle day at Ship Stearns. Are you kidding me? Like, even a big wave event at Cloud Break, like that's where I want to see the Big Wave World Tour. I want to see it. I want to see Mavericks and Jaws stay on there, but I want to see really technical barrel riding and heavy wave surf.
It's got to happen.
It has to, because that's where the money. I think that's where everyone's going to be like, wow, these guys are the baddest motherfuckers on the planet.
It's got to happen, man. It's
so
got to happen.
Like that's where I want to see it, and I think we have the right crew of guys. You know. Lucas Chumbo, Nathan Florence is on there now, you know, Kai Lenny, Albie, myself. Like, I feel like even like, you know, Ian Walsh, all of us, like Makua, there's the right group of people there to push it. And, you know, you still got Twiggy pulling into the biggest
I know, how was
ever,
that?
and the guy's 45. Like, that
is crazy.
He's ready. He's psyched. Like, he ain't going to pull back. And that, like, I think that's where we got to go. We got to get some really heavy slabs in the mix with to mix in with riding. You know, even if you're only riding a 7.6 or whatever it is, 8.0 at 20-foot cloud break, that would be a day to watch, and that's where I want to see the Big Wave World Tour go. So hopefully,
they're going to listen to you, because that's the future.
It is,
and it's staring right at you.
Yeah,
these waves are right there.
Events have ran there through the WSL, so why can't we get an event there?
Why not? So, Billy, what do you think your scariest wave on the Big Wave World Tour would be to compete at?
I mean,
because you haven't done Mavericks yet.
I haven't, but I love that wave. I think Hawaiians adapt to that place really well. It's a slabby big right. For me, it's kind of like a wave in the middle of Jaws and Waimea. It has a scooping takeoff like Waimea does, but then it's a bit longer, and it does have a pretty sick barrel if you can position yourself right, like Jaws. You know, every big wave is scary. If somebody's telling you it ain't, they're lying to you. I can guarantee you put any big wave surfer in the world in certain conditions, and their tail will go between their legs, and they'll be scared. But, you know, Nazare, there's so much risk for such little reward. I mean, up until this year's event, I've never seen somebody make a barrel in my life out there, let alone seen a wave really barrel like cleanly. Hands down, I think the tallest wave in the world's going to be there. Like, you know, you could go toe into easily 100-foot wall out there for sure, but it just doesn't do what Jaws does. And growing up tow surfing out at Jaws and now paddling out there, I've seen waves that are just mesmerized in my head. They're just like tattooed on my brain. Just 80-foot rifling barrels. And
with like no one on them.
yeah, and that to me
You're
is
like,
the
I wanna be
nutsest
there.
wave in the world.
Yeah.
It's I mean, you take any one of these guys, the nutsest guys in the world, and you put them at the peak on a big day at Jaws,
And
and
you
there's
watch
enough
them.
west in it where it's scooping and basically looks like a whole arena bending at you, and it's nuts. The bigger it gets, the heavier it gets. And it's not like a wave where it gets too big, it kind of gets mushy. It just gets hollower and hollower and hollower, and there's nothing in the world like it. And
So that's the wave.
yeah, it is. And if
Like
somebody wants to
how-
argue with me, let's sit down. And
Let's sit down.
I got facts on facts on facts, bro.
Yeah.
They're
So what,
pound
do you
for pound.
think it won't? Like, I mean, you're going to get one blue moon swell that's going to be like maybe 100 feet. And
Yeah.
do you think it won't close? It'll just be perfect and big?
100%.
100%?
The way that
Far out.
reef is, I mean, let's get Laird down here and talk to him. He's seen 100-foot waves out there.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, I've talked to Double D about it before.
yeah.
Double D was the first guy to ever tow me in.
Derek
and-
Dorner, yeah.
Yeah, and he's, those guys are the pioneers. That's their wave. That's not our wave. Those guys, they are the ones who started that place. And without them, there would be no us. And hats off to that whole crew between Laird, Double D, Dave Kalama, Buzzy Kerbox, everyone, the Lopez brothers, you name it, Brian Kealana, Pete Cabrina. The list goes on and on. But, long story short, that's their proving grounds that they pulled the sword from the stone there. That is their wave, and they pushed us to where we are now, and they've seen waves out there that we haven't seen, because I mean, realistically, what we're doing now has only been going on, it hasn't even been going on for 10 years. About 6 years of really pushing it. 8 years, the guys were having a sniff, but the last 5 to 6 years has been a big change. And with the paddle surfing, it's been towed for years and years and years.
Yeah, right. So they've seen more swells than we've seen.
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
and I mean, I'm 28 years old.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how old Laird is?
His sleds. We was on the Occ-Cast. He's my age, isn't he? Or a little, he's nearly 50. He's got to be around 50.
I think he's in his mid-50s.
Mid-50s. So fit, yeah. So he's seen.
Oh yeah, he's been surfing that wave
For
way
20
before
years.
I was born.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, there's been swells that we haven't seen, and
Yeah.
that wave, I've never seen a wave where it looked too big out there. The bigger it gets, the nutsier it gets. So
Wow.
that for me is hats off, the nutsest wave on tour, without a doubt.
Wow.
And scares me more than any place in the world. Yeah.
So you want one of those waves? I mean, you've had.
There's a wave, and that wave I caught
Yeah.
in that first heat was a wave that I've been looking to ride for, my whole life. I've dreamt about that wave. I drew that wave on my notebook in school, and teachers were telling me I wasn't going to ever be anything in life, and I was a horrible kid, and I wasn't going to make money. I was going to be this piece of shit and this and that, and I drew that photo every day, that big barrel. And I had it right there, and I think I was like one pump away. I got the entry, I got the right line into it. But that I want to make. I really don't care about riding the tallest wave in the world. Like I'm not going to go to Nazaré and try to paddle at 80-foot Glassy Day. I honestly, that it does nothing for me. I want, in my brain, what makes me feel good and the waves I want to ride is the biggest barrel. The biggest, deepest barrel I can get myself into. That's what I'm after. And that's what my heart wants to do. And I'm just kind of going where I feel. And I think a lot of people get caught up thinking that, you're gonna make it if you ride the biggest wave ever, or this and that, or I really could care less about that. It doesn't mean anything to me. For me, it's just overcoming what I want to do and conquering it, and working my way there. I'm getting closer every day this year.
So Billy, let's talk about training, because you've hit golden form in the last half a dozen years, since 2010. So what is it down to, and is it training and everything that you do, because you're such a healthy prime specimen?
Yeah, I think it is. It's support, and I think if there's one person to really, thank and give credit to, it's Kahea Hart.
Okay.
I've known him forever. My whole life, since I was 8 years old, I moved over here. I've
Great
known
surfer
him.
himself.
Exactly. And when I was 19, 20 years old, he seen me just at probably too many parties, hanging out with too many girls, and just kind of no cares in life, just going.
Yeah.
And he threw me under his wing, brought me in to train, and it was kind of all history from there. We connected on a whole nother level, and he's became like family to me. It's so much more than just training, but realistically, the whole surf results and my mental strength and physical strength is all because of him. We've put so much time in the gym, and I've learned so much that sometimes the person with the most talent in the room might not be the best surfer or win.
The one winning.
Yeah, because there's that person who doesn't have the most talent, but they'll work twice as hard. They're spending the after hours in the gym with them. They're looking at everything they did wrong in the past rather than just showing up to compete. I take it really seriously. I work with a team of nutritionists, Matt and Cherie Chan. It's pretty obsessed of how deep we go with this. Literally, I weigh out every meal I eat to the gram. I get daily prescriptions on how many macronutrients I can eat. I train with Kahea 7 days a week leading up to the winter, and now,
When you're leading up to an event too, is there beers on the program, or that's
no
nothing?
no beers, no alcohol,
No
nothing.
alcohol,
Yeah.
nothing.
I enjoy myself. I
After
told
a celebration,
Yeah, I
yeah.
told myself this year I'm not going to drink until I win.
No.
And
your head must have had a beer after Jaws.
Yep. I had a beer after Jaws. I actually, I broke that. I had a couple beers on my wedding. I got married this year
yes,
on November 7th.
congratulations, yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, we really try to just focus on the future and not really what's happened in the past. Our mistakes, we definitely bring them up and we make sure they don't happen, but we train, we work hard. We have a great group of people. I don't care if you don't know how to surf. I don't care if you're a drug addict trying to get out of drugs, or if you're, somebody who needs help. We open the doors up at our gym and we bring you in. I got little Groms coming and training with me. I got, people who have helped me get to where I'm at, like Makua Rothman coming and training with me. I got Jamie O'Brien. There's all different people. Lucas Chumbo, somebody who's battling for world titles with me on the Big Wave World Tour, is coming in now, and it's just cool. It's no secret. It's just straight up hard work and putting in the miles rather than just talking about it. We really put everything aside and work hard, and it's been an unbelievable experience working with Kahea. And for me, I look at all these other trainers and all these kids training with people in these gyms, and do their trainers know how to surf? And how do they know how their knees work, or how paddling truly affects you, and what to tighten and what to work on? And Kahea, I'll be the first person to tell you, he is talented. He will surf better than me, and he's an absolute talented, amazing surfer. He
really is.
It's surprising that he hasn't won a Triple Crown. From
He
pipe,
surfs Sunset so good.
Sunset Haleiwa pipe, he's such a weapon, and it's really easy for me to listen to him because he knows what my body needs. He knows what my surfing needs, and
he's believable.
yeah, he is. His surfing does the talking, and we've created this formula of. People always ask me, what kind of training do you do? What do you do? Do you do CrossFit?
Yeah.
Do you do mixed martial arts?
Yeah.
Do you do, speed and agilities? And we've created our own formula.
Wow.
We do all kinds of stuff that has CrossFit, workouts involved. We do speed and agilities. We do endurance stuff. We do ocean work, like the underwater stuff that Larry's doing in the pools. We do stuff down at Waimea. We do surf training. This last couple years, we've got in this, it's called foundation training. And it's crazy what this stuff's doing to you, man. The alignment, the posture, and truly how much it helps your body, it's crazy what it's done to me. And I think it's kept me from getting hurt in a lot of heavy situations. It's strengthened my body in places that I never knew needed to be worked on. Wow. And it's really cool. I think anybody who's interested in it, it's so easy. You can literally look it up online, apply, like you can watch videos and do it in your living room watching TV, and it helps you from literally the way you're looking at your phone, from like this, of just everything, aligning your body and, you know, just recovering fast. I feel like I don't ever have to recover when I'm training. I can train for 2 hours and go straight back into a training session, you know, maybe some boxing 4 hours later with, you know, one of my buddies, Kyle Foyle, who's a ex-professional fighter and a Muay Thai specialist, black belt in jiu-jitsu. And that's the kind of things where I like spreading my wings and not just going to one gym or seeing one trainer. Kahea really opened to me seeing what other people are doing and just making sure I'm really well-rounded and just having everything in our little formula that we have. And we've created this solution that, you know, for me, when I'm doing it and when I'm working with them, I truly feel like I'm unstoppable. Like I feel like, you know, the only person that can beat me is myself. And that as a professional athlete, I think is the main goal. And it works, and I'm very grateful to be working with him.
Oh, great. So Billy, I just watched the Born and Raised clip on Surfline. That was super cool. Tell us about that.
Oh man, where do I start? I was really fortunate. You know, there's a really talented friend of mine and videographer, editor, you name it. He's into everything. Etienne Aurelius. He grew up a really rough childhood. You know, he had a wild upbringing, and he has done so well. You know, there's a lot of things that people don't know about him, and he is at a place where he really wants to capture real life things, and his goal is to, you know, just find the fundamental rules of life and share them with other people, to help people, and to just, you know, bring people a bright light. You know, there's so many people who fight in life for happiness and healthiness, and that I feel like that's really where we're at, and we wanted to make an impact, and not here in Hawaii, but more so just worldwide. And you know, a couple of years ago, I mean, a year and a half ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and it was the beginning of the year the year I won the world title, and he wanted to document kind of me that year. The previous year I won the Jaws event, and he documented my ride of the year, and we had all this, you know, really good footage, and he was really, you know, attracted to what was going on in my life, and he just seen a story that could, you know, help so many people. And he had, you know, the backing and the help from, you know, one of the biggest stars in all of acting right now, Jason Momoa. And he, you know, he pushed him to create this film on me, and we documented my year from event to event and everyday life here at home. And it was you know, it was really hard. It was something, you know, we had this done for a couple months, and I didn't know what to do or how to do it, and I was like, where do I put it? Like, how to, you know, it's personal, and my mom's on there, and it's truly how my year went, and how I won the world title, and how I competed, and my relationships at home with my children, my wife, you know, everything. And I put it in his hands, and I just said, let's do this. Let's, you know, I'm not going to be happy with myself if I don't share it with other kids and other people, to be inspired to, you know, no matter how hard and how difficult life is, that there's always a way to find motivation in a negative, you know, place, to turn it into positive. And for me, you know, I was at a place where I thought, you know, I mean, doctors are telling me I didn't know how long I was going to see my mom, and I was just like, I'm done surfing for now. Like, I have the rest of my life to surf. And I was like, all right, I just want to spend time with my mom. Nothing else in the world matters to me. And my mom just straight up was like, if you literally don't do these events, if you don't go out there and do what like I raised you to do, then I'm stopping everything. Like, I'm pulling I don't care. Like, she wanted to see me succeed. And that's what a perfect parent does. And I've learned that, and I've gained that now to my knowledge, to how I raise my children. And it wasn't just me who won those events or that world title. It truly was my mom. Like, she pushed me to the top, and to have that all documented it was really hard, but at the same time, I have that for the rest of my life with me. And I can always reflect back to it. And there's a lot of things that aren't told and aren't on that movie. But you know, in the future, I really, when I find, you know, we want to find somebody to give us a platform to open up and make a complete film and really just inspire people to never give up, and people to just, you know, fight through the rough times. And, you know, the best time of your life might be on the other side of that rough time. And that's what it was for me. You know, I just put my head down, and I was told, like, you know, every time I paddle out to surf or compete, I consistently tell myself, you know, I fight and I never give up, just exactly like my mom. And that's who she was, and that's how she raised me, and that's why I'm here with what I have. You know, that's why I have a family and kids, why we have a house and, you know, a beautiful yard. And it's because she taught me this, and I want to pass it on to people that, you know, take what you've been taught and pass it on to others, share it with other people, and just really give them motivation to always find a bright light and use it to be a better person.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're such a unique person, like, because you ride those waves that people probably just can't gather, but that was such a powerful message.
Yeah, you know, it is, and that's what, you know, I'm happy to share with people. It's hard, it's emotional, but I've been somebody my whole life that I wear my emotions, I wear what I say, it's on my sleeves. You know, I'm not scared to tell you how I feel, and I tell it how it is, and I'm happy to help people. I'm happy to share my message and just really motivate people to be the best they can be.
Epic. On a lighter note, for your fans and my viewers, what don't we know about Billy Kemper? Is there any little kind of superstitions or weird stuff?
I'm so superstitious.
Are you really?
Fuck. Me? You ask my wife about this. It's like, I win my first heat, those board shorts are not getting washed. They're not being, like, they're going same heat. They're going, like, if I wear a certain pair of clothes down to sunset and I win my heat, those clothes stay on me for the rest of the event. You know, I'm super in routine. I'm super superstitious. I know, like, you know, there's all kinds of funny things. Actually, my biggest...
It leads into so many things, because I'm really superstitious too.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, so many, your mind can play tricks on you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You want to see so many signs. If you don't see them...
Oh, I've literally paddled out in a heat, like, and caught myself where I didn't do something, and I'm like, oh my God, I just lost. And I lost.
And you
I'm like, oh my God. Like, realistically,
crazy.
you know, you overcome those obstacles and you make it happen when you have to. But there's for me, my biggest fear in life are cats.
Really?
Yeah, cats can straight up kill me. I'm so allergic to them.
Oh no!
So a lot of people don't think that. Or, like, they just trip
That's your
out.
kryptonite right there.
I see cats, I'm just like, ah! Like, it's something for people to laugh at, you know, like cats, kittens. My kids want cats. I'm like, hell no, no cats on my property. And yeah, that's something nobody, I mean, besides my close friends and family, know that. Yeah, I am not a cat person, and yeah, other than that, you know, I mean, there's not much that people don't know. I wear my life, I talk about my life with everyone, and I'm not scared or, you know, a shy person to share my story or anything that's going on in my life. It is what it is, and you want to know something, just ask me. Yeah.
That was absolutely sensational, Billy.
Thank you, Occ.
Thank you.
Such a privilege to be here with you. You know,
wow.
From the dance floors at the house here on the North Shore, the big parties.
I was going to say, have you got any questions for me?
Oh man, I could pick your brain for hours, but
yeah, no, it's all good.
I would love to ask you something. Like,
Okay.
what do you feel like has been your biggest key to success in your competitive surfing?
Wow, when we talk about superstition.
Aside from your amazing talent.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
you know, I know that you can jump on a board without surfing for months. No, I've seen it and I know it. Aside from the surfing, what do you think has been your biggest key to success?
Okay. It's a good question, and people might think it's weird, but it's actually persistence.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I started so young, and I was knocking on the door, but it was too early for me. I was still partying and everything too, and I wasn't realizing how close I was to like greatness. I was too young. The world was moving too fast, and then I had my hiatus and put on a lot of weight. But just the persistence in wanting to get back there, and then once I got back there, I matured up. But I was still persistent, and all the losses, just don't let them get to you, because you can still win. Like, and the persistence paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Unreal, guys. That's another Occ-Cast. Thank you, Billy.
Yeah, boys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh god, there's too many jellyfish.
Such a wonderful life.